I don't know why I do all that. Allan Aguirre with your Incorruptible 2-minute warning. We are in week 14 of our series on the book of Romans, the epistle to the Romans by the Apostle Paul, Rabbi Shaul. We're calling this Roman holiday. And we are in Romans chapter 9 in a section the English Standard Version calls God's sovereign choice. We're going to go back 2 verses to catch up with context from the prior week, because we took last week off, and I'm glad I did. It was very smart that I did do that, because it was crazy, good crazy. Oh, and it's happy birthday, Julian. All right, we're in Romans 9, verse 6. But it is not as though the word of God has failed, for not all who are descended from Israel belong to Israel, and not all are children of Abraham because they are his offspring. It's cross-referencing, the cross-reference is 2 Chronicles 20, verse 7, Psalm 105, verse 6. But through Isaac shall your offspring be named, citing Genesis 21:12. Here we go. This means that it is not the children of the flesh who are the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted as offspring. For this is what the promise said, about this time next year I will return and Sarah shall have a son. Remember, we studied that in Exodus Ingathering Monday nights. He's citing Genesis 18:10 and verse 14, as well as Genesis 17:21. And not only so, but also when Rebekah had conceived children by one man, our forefather Isaac. Cross references Genesis 25, verse 21. Though they were not yet born and had done nothing either good or bad, in order that God's purpose of election might continue, not because of works, but because of him who calls, and this is going to get really sticky going forward, she was told, the older will serve the younger, citing Genesis 25:23, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. Citing Malachi 1, verses 2 and 3. Look at this, a whole 45 seconds to go. Okay, so let's look at this a little bit deeper here. Remember how he's talking about if a Jew is circumcised in the flesh, but doesn't keep obedience, doesn't keep the commandments, doesn't keep the Torah, that's circumcision, which is pretty much a Jewish thing. I'm gonna do this, right? But if a Gentile, a non-Jew, is obedient but doesn't keep, but isn't circumcised, but he is obedient, then that's circumcision of the heart, and that trumps your physical circumcision. Remember, Paul was talking about just because you're circumcised doesn't mean you're in. It's whether you obey or not, like you just saw.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.